This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our AnCan Blood Cancers monthly meeting. It is a new year. Happy 2025 to everyone. We're going to have our own New Year's celebration here in our meeting. Exactly. We have Alexa dancing already, but you know, we have to be grateful we are here. And I know for myself, when I was first diagnosed and the times I've gone into treatment, I always wonder about that. And I'm very grateful. I'm Michelle NADEEM-BAKER. I am in Boston and I have chronic lymphocytic leukemia, otherwise known as CLL. So I am going to, I have people disappearing, popping in. Jim, would you like to introduce yourself? And then if each of you could let me know if you need time this evening to share
Yes.
what's been happening.
Jim Marshall, actually, anyway, prostate cancer, which was first told to me that I had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma because it was discovered within the lymph nodes in the VA. Veterans Affairs has this thing that says any cancer within a lymph node is then non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So I joined the group, and I also have a sister who has multiple myeloma, except she's extremely bashful and she will not attend. So I kind of sit in for her. So I'm in Alexandria, Virginia, and here we are preparing for President Carter's send-off. And it's a big deal around here, especially on the military installation that handles all of that stuff, and the caissons and all of the band and the drum and fife corps and all of that stuff. So it'll be a big shindig.
Will you be attending any part of it?
No, because there is going to be a viewing essentially at the Capitol, but that'll be a long line and it'll go for probably a day and a half, 24 hours a day. And then he will be taken over to the National Cathedral, and that's by invitation only. And I don't think I rate an invitation to that one. So,
Alexa,
nope.
can you do something about that for him? I bet you could.
Well, I feel like, Jim, as our lead veterans moderator, I do feel like you represent all of us very well here at AnCan, and you represent the veterans, and therefore you should get an invitation. So whoever in Washington, D.C. is watching this, I think Jim Marshall, Captain Jim Marshall, should be invited.
I bet everyone here is in accordance with that. Yes?
Well,
Yay.
thank you very much. And we'll see if the phone rings. Of course, I am only about 1/2 mile away from J.D. Vance's house here, and I ride by it every day. And if he's there or not, but the Secret Service are there standing outside, so I always salute them. And they are now just starting to wave back at me because they see me every day.
They are? That's great. See?
Yes.
Your phone's going to ring any second. I can feel it. And if it does, they're all going to be like, oh. Well, Leslie, our star of the evening here.
Oh, no, don't. Just put it on because you said it was for New Year's, so here it is.
I love it. I'm looking to see well, my antlers are they're put away now. I mean, somewhere. They used to be in here, but so how do you need time this evening to share? And if you can introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Leslie. I'm in Dallas area of Texas. I have MCL. I've got about 50 minutes until I have to leave. I don't really have much going on. I'll go back in for a regular visit this week. They're going to do a swallow test finally to see what's causing some of my stuff going on. I have, and then in February, they'll redo the bone marrow, the PET scan, and decide what they're going to do for me from there, because February it'll be a year since they started treatment with me.
Well,
So they'll go from there. It was looking at treatment until February of this year, and then 2 years following, I think he said. He wasn't very clear in it, so I'm not really sure, but that's what's going on with me, and living with constant pain, and they're working on that. Not really sure what's going on. There's a pain that goes from my back down into my hamstring, and it's constant, and it gets worse when I sit, or especially on hard surfaces.
So we're going to come back to you after everyone says if they need to share, but I bet you that some of what you just said, a lot of us can share what we've gone through that's similar and what we've done that may or may not help.
Right.
So I'm making a note of that and I remember you talking about the pain a little before, but anyway, we'll come back to you on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Nancy, and everyone, thank you for your cards. Mary, you were not in the meeting, and we all, someone had mentioned, it was Leslie, about cards and not getting cards. And so we all exchanged cards. We got each other's addresses. And for next year, we have to add you onto the list.
Okay. We can get ahead of it this year. That'll be our resolution as a group.
Say that again, Alexa.
We can get ahead of it this year. That will be our resolution as a group.
Oh. And I never got your address, Alexa. I know. So there you go. Okay, Nancy, if you can introduce yourself. I think everyone here knows you, but just in case, and then if you need more time. Oh, we can't hear you. Or I can't hear you. No one can hear you. And it does not say you're muted. Is your volume need turning up?
Yeah, leave and come back in. That usually fixes it. I don't know why, it just does.
Wait a minute.
Well, Nancy? Oh,
I think she's coming back in.
I was going to suggest something.
When she comes back, if we don't hear her, Jim, please do. Mary.
Hi.
How do you need
I'm Mary.
Yes, thank you.
And I live in Michigan, and I have multiple myeloma, and I'm in treatment. I go for infusions every other week, and I'm doing very well, so I don't need any time to comment tonight.
What infusions do you receive every other week?
Let's see, I get Kyprolis and Dex every other week, and once a month I get Darzalex, Fast Pro, and Exgeva.
Boy, that's a lot.
It works.
And you're looking great.
I feel good.
That's right. I'm just looking to see if I have heard. I wrote to Sally and Lynn this morning, but it's odd for them to not be here. I have not heard back. Anyway, well, Mary, thank you for sharing that, and you're looking good. Happy New Year, Mary.
Happy New Year.
Thank you, Mary Lou.
Hi, can you hear me? Yeah. Hi, my name is Mary Lou. I'm from West Springfield, Massachusetts. I have MDS, had a stem cell transplant, and I'm doing very well. The doctor is very pleased with my numbers are coming up, and I'm doing well. I did start a maintenance program, however, where I have to have chemo for a year, 5 days a week with 6 weeks off. So it's Vidasa and venetoclax. It's to help prevent relapse.
Vidasa and venetoclax?
Vidasa and venetoclax, yeah. Jacqueline Garcia, the doctor from Dana-Farber, she's the one that started this clinical trial.
We'll come back to you and ask you more about that.
Okay.
Okay. You're looking great, though.
Thank you.
Nancy, let's see if we can hear you this time.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm Nancy Capra. I am in Texas, and tonight I am in Amarillo. I have CLL, and I'm off treatment for about 6 months now and doing well. But I would like a little bit of time later just to kind of process some life event stuff.
Okay. Absolutely. Hi, Rick. Happy New Year.
Hello, Happy New Year to everybody.
How are you?
I'm good. Hope everybody's well.
Do you need some?
No, I'm just very busy with all the end of year stuff. Just a quick reminder, if you haven't filled out the survey, we've gotten to 400, but I've got to talk with Miss Alexa tomorrow, but we'll be starting to analyze results soon. But I'm very pleased that we've gotten to that number. And as some of you know, it's our end of year annual only fundraising time. We don't ask you to make donations any other time. So we would like the blood cancer folks to make a good showing there. So
I am reminding everyone in the chat about the survey. And there she is. I knew it. That was good teamwork, Alexa.
There she goes. All right, thank you. And I was just writing something when you called on me. And we can find one, either Alexa or I will post the survey into, I think I have it quite quickly. It's easy for me to get to.
Might beat me to it. So.
Oh, you beat me to it. Okay.
She did. Yeah. I said, please remember to fill it out. Alexa will share. And then instantly there it was.
Yeah. Well, I did the donate, so.
Yeah. Well, so Rick, please chime in. I'm missing Jerry here and my co-moderators. Maybe I did text them this morning.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're partying.
They're partying, but
and they did not invite us all.
Alexa's going to be with you. She'll be your support. I'll stick around for a few more minutes, and then I'm going to go over to my men speaking freely group, which I do like. So look, and check out Leslie's stars and headgear there, man. Woo!
You know, she's celebrating New Year's with us. She's helping us bring in the new year.
Yeah, she's been celebrating New Year's for 2.5 days now. You.
Oh, we can't hear you.
You're just as well. You're muted.
Oops, I'm trying to unmute, but you have to do it, I think. Oh, you're still muted, Leslie.
I said anything to make y'all laugh. That's my
job.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it.
Humor.
They're terrific.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we love that.
Well, no, I wish I had something to add to the party here, but those are great for all of us. Well, so Leslie, you were talking about you have a regular checkup this week. Are you, when you say regular, do you mean work?
And yeah, it's a monthly. You scratched or something in there. Are you still in there, Michelle?
I am. Did I?
Oh, okay. Okay. For some reason, you kind of. It's just the well check or whatever it is to make sure I can have the infusion, and then I get my rituximab. And they're going to be doing a check of my heart because I think I mentioned to you guys we found out I had a diastolic congestive heart failure. And then they'll be checking a swallow check to see what's going on with my swallowing. And they're going to give me a pain shot to try to figure out what's going on with the pain that I'm getting down my hamstring. And that's it. And then they'll do everything next month to see what they want to do with me from there. Because it's been a year.
Wow.
Leslie, do you have a palliative care doc on your team?
No, I'm going to ask the doctors about that. I haven't seen my doctor in months. I've seen a lot of PAs and a lot of, oh, he's not here today, so we're going to bring in his fellow instead of the doctor. And It's frustrating, but I have to ask someone about that because I think that's going to help me to get a palliative care going.
Where are you treated?
MD Anderson.
Okay, well, they have a really good palliative care group. They got a couple of great people. They got a Russian lady who's really good there, and they've got some good people. So it shouldn't be hard.
You
And
can self-refer in my chart to palliative care at MD Anderson.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you knew that. So if you
No,
go
I
to my
didn't know that.
chart, you should be able to you go to my chart, you ask us to send a message, and it should give you some options. And palliative care is one of those that you can ask to set up a consultation with. At least it
Oh,
was
okay.
that way somewhat recently. So I would say as soon as you can, log into your MD Anderson My Chart and then try to get that palliative care. Who's the lady, Rick? Ideally,
oh, I can't remember her name.
let me pull up MD Anderson.
That's okay. I'll find it. Yeah, I'm pretty good with.
You know, also they have a fatigue clinic.
A
fatigue clinic.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I have the number for them. I don't really have fatigue.
Well, that's good.
I get maybe about 5 or 6 hours of sleep a night. It's come and go sleep, but I don't feel tired.
That's great.
I think the pain is what's causing me to feel exhausted.
Yeah, I mean those palliative care docs have a lot of tricks up their sleeve, which the regular, hemoncs and other oncologists they don't stay on top of the pain of the advances in pain meds. The other thing I wanted to say for everybody and whoever listens in on the recording, it always frustrates me when I hear people coming into our groups and I haven't seen my doc for ages and they weren't there and they shoved me off onto a PA or a nurse practitioner or this, that, and the other. And it's all well and good to do that if you are going for a maintenance checkup and nothing's going to change. Fine. I mean, I don't like it, but it's acceptable. But if you think that there's anything significant coming up, or you want to discuss treatment, or you want to know how long you're going to remain, or something like that, you have to insist, and you are your best advocate to do that. And you just have to say, look, if the doctor's not going to be there, if you don't think they're going to be there, give me a time when you know the doctor's going to be there. I don't want to see the nurse practitioner. I don't want to see the PA. And most people don't do that. The schedulers say, oh, yes, I was with the PA. Okay, thank you very much. Goodbye. No, I want the doctor. He can't see me on that day. She can't see me on that day. When's a day she can see me?
Right.
And it usually works, right, Michelle?
It does.
I did that.
As long as you go on those.
And then he wasn't there that day. Nobody seemed to know where he was.
So I know with at least I am fortunate in that every other appointment one is with my nurse practitioner and then the next one is with my oncologist. And so it's always every other one and they stick with that. Luckily, that is their standard at Dana-Farber, at least for CLL. Yeah. Mary Lou just left. I don't know if that's for everything, but it sounds like it's not that way, Leslie. When you think you'll see your doctor, do they tell you you'll be seeing your doctor and then it ends up not being your doctor?
This time, yes. This last time they did it, and I waited 2.5 hours to be seen over my appointment time.
Have you gone through that too, Alexa, there?
Yes, this is pretty typical with MD Anderson. And as Leslie probably knows, you can even get scheduled with what appears to be your doctor. It will say that on the schedule. You will show up, you're told that you are seeing Dr. So-and-so, and then the nurse practitioner PA comes in and says, oh, well, there's been a change. You're not seeing Dr. So-and-so today.
Yep.
And I think as patients, and certainly as patient advocates, if they do that, you have to make a complaint. You've got to file it up. You've got to send it up and say this isn't acceptable. You can't just do this.
Yeah, I went through patient advocacy, and they started with the doctor.
Really? Because I remember you were having some issues before. So this is all still that same doctor?
Yep. Yep. And they sided with the doctor. They told me that he didn't know any of this was going on and that we should work it out. He even had me, I had issues with the nurse making decisions without checking with the doctor. And he said he had no idea what was going on. He left the room and sent the nurse back in for we could talk it out. You know how uncomfortable that was? That was horrendous.
Yeah, awful, 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 awful. Some of the hospitals, not all of them, but some of them have ombuds people who you can reach out to and say, look, this is what's going on, and it just doesn't cut it, and you know, you're gaslighting me. So there are ways to do it, but it's really not right, and I think it's terribly disrespectful. And if it happened to them, they would be up in arms about it.
Oh, absolutely. If you're late, they cancel you.
Yes. Leslie, do you see the head of the department or
no,
but a specialist for MCL?
Yes, there's 2 in that department that are famous or popular. I see one of them, and I even asked if I could be transferred to a doctor that wasn't one of them. And that department is the person that decides whether I can change doctors or not. And so when you are trying to change doctors from a main doctor at that department, and they're the ones that decide if you're going to change or not, that becomes an issue as far as I'm concerned, because they shouldn't be making that decision if the problem is one of them.
No, you're right, Leslie. You're absolutely right. Which is why at some point you have to go around them or above them or to the administration and say, you're not treating patients right.
Yeah.
I mean,
And that's
Alexa,
what I was doing.
do you know if there's a route for patient complaints at MD Anderson?
Well, Leslie did that. Leslie did everything exactly right, and they just handled it so poorly, and they sided all the way with the staff. And the patient advocacy team is supposed to be a third party. I was so surprised that they just basically sided all the way with MD Anderson and totally against Leslie. I was really surprised.
Yeah.
Nancy, do you go to MD Anderson or do you see Dr. Awan? I can't remember.
No, I go to UT Southwestern and I see Dr. Wolf, the youngest, brightest, most wonderful female doctor in the CLL specialty team.
I didn't know about Dr. Wolf. Huh. So I was going to ask
you. Fantastic.
Well, that's good to know. But that's bad for Leslie. I was hoping maybe you knew some tricks of the trade at MD Anderson. Mary Lou, I've never been so happy that I go to, I mean, there are many reasons I've been happy to go to Dana-Farber, but it's just, I'm appreciating it more now.
Somebody's got something scratching on their microphone.
Yeah, some scratching.
Somebody's got a funny
I'm thinking the same. I never have a problem at Dana-Farber. It runs like clockwork.
Yeah. And Leslie, you know, at the most I've waited, and it's been only when my doctor has an emergency, but it's always still her. I mean,
right, and they know where he is, right, or she is.
Yes.
This was, nobody knew where he was that day. Nobody knew where he was. It's like, well,
and they told you
2.5 hours to sit and wait for him in the room, not in the waiting room, in the room.
Yeah.
I thought, what is that? You know, this is so unprofessional.
Yeah.
So, but
just
what are you going to do?
Makes for, you know, it just makes for lack of confidence too. And I think that's something that all of us, you know, we deal with enough. And then to have, you know, a question about our care team, that just makes it even more difficult. And
exactly.
I'm so sorry. And of course, I love UT Southwestern right now because I haven't had any issues like that. And I do know, with my husband being a physician, how medicine is so across the board. up and down. There's good and there's bad. And
Right.
I'm so,
I
know,
hate
I was
that for
hoping
you,
like,
Leslie. I'm so sorry.
no, I
That's
was
okay. You know,
oh,
I've come to the conclusion in my life, I'm one of those people that if it will go wrong, it will go wrong for me. And so I make a joke out of it because that's just, what is that luck? There's something luck. I can't remember what they call it. I think it's an old Irish saying, something luck.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking of. I can't think what it's called.
If I didn't have dumb luck, I'd have no luck at all.
Well, that's a good one too. But yeah, that, you know, and it's kind of everything that could go wrong will go wrong. And I just know it's going to happen that way. And so it doesn't bother me as much. What bothered me is sitting there and waiting. And the
Yeah,
fact that I knew that for some reason I wasn't going to see him. I shouldn't have known that, but I did. You know, and Alexa's shaking her head. Yep, that's the way it works. And it's wrong. And, you know, how do you let people know that just because you're a cancer patient, as they call you, doesn't mean that they can control you under their ways of doing things. It doesn't mean that they should mistreat you or make you feel less than.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely agree.
You know, and so that becomes an issue that we as patient warriors, survivors, however you see yourself, need to let people, we need to be heard and seen more than just a paycheck, a payment, or a cancer patient. Because we're not, we're people too.
we
Hi,
are.
Lynn.
You know, Leslie, I know that you were misdiagnosed before you went to MD Anderson, and you need to stay there, but I just really wish I knew someone there. And I would say if one of, you know, if there's anything I can do to help or reach out, but I know you did. And also you don't want them then to, I mean, you don't want them then to leave you waiting all the more if it happens to be the person who's responsible.
Well, it's kind of like, what else can they do, you know?
Yeah. Maybe you should wear those stars in.
Yeah. I do usually wear a funny t-shirt, or I make a lot of my own funny t-shirts. I wore one at Christmas that had gnomes on it that were, you know, dressed like nurses and stuff, and it said, hanging with my oncology gnomie. You know, things like that. I do that all the time. I take little things into them, the gal at the front desk. I took in little Christmas gifts this time.
Wow.
But it's just, you know, it's kind of like, it shows them that you're human. You're not just a number.
Yeah.
Even though that's the way that most hospitals and doctors' offices run nowadays. And it's not their fault. It's the fault of the people up top that want the money. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is. But enough about me. Let's move on.
Well, I did want to ask about, so your pain.
Let me just cut in for a second. I'm going to leave and go over to the Men Speaking Freely. It's lovely to see all of you. I'm sorry you're going through this. I'll talk with Alexa. We'll see if we can think of any other back ways to let people know. It shouldn't happen.
Just as a generalized idea to all doctors.
Yeah, no.
The other thing is, I'm curious if everyone that has this doctor has these issues. If it's this doctor, and maybe they just don't know. Do you know anyone else by chance who sees the same doctor?
Mm-hmm. I had one lady that told me, run as fast as you can if he's doing this, and they transferred her to a different doctor there. And she told me how to go about it, and they told me no. So, yeah, I don't know, but we need to move on. There's other people in the world.
I will text with you about it, because I don't know I don't know if the head, yeah, anyway. Okay, I will. I have an idea. I don't know if it'll work. We'll see. We're all going, and we're all going to wear those little stars. And we're going to make sure they treat you better.
Yes.
I'm really sorry to hear. So the pain, they're going to talk about your pain down your leg this week.
Yeah.
You're giving you what kind of shot are they giving you?
I probably steroids.
They work wonders. Well, anyway, I will text you.
Okay.
So, all right. Hi, Lynn. I'm sure Jim, I'm so happy you're here and I'm sure Jim is too, because, you know, we've been talking about braiding hair and, you know, things like that. So now we can talk to you about braiding your hair. We'll come back to you, but I wanted to hear from Mary Lou, because last time, Mary Lou, we saw you, I can't believe that it's already a new year, but the last time we spoke with you, you were feeling not well at all.
Right. I started my clinical trial, and I was sicker than a dog. Every night after I would come home, I barely made it into the bathroom. And it was like 5 to 6 times a night I was up vomiting. So they finally gave me, and I got to ask them what it was. They gave me 2 shots through my, not shots, but through my port, intravenous medications that stopped the nausea and the vomiting, because I couldn't eat or anything. It was like, you know, my husband kept saying, you got to eat. I said, I can't. My stomach is so upset, I can't eat. But so I'm doing much better. I'm eating well. I'm sleeping well. All my bodily functions are working well. So.
I want, what did they give you? That, it sounds like a miracle.
Yeah. Well, I go back on the 14th of January for my second cycle. So I asked them when I saw them yesterday, or New Year's Eve actually, if they can give me the same medication, you know, so I don't have that issue. So they agreed.
And you said 5 days, so every day you have to go in?
Every day for 5 days, but I'm going to be doing it locally. So the first day of my second cycle, I will be in Boston on the 14th, and they will give me my venetoclax and the IV, and then the next 4 days I will be locally at Bay State Medical Center in Springfield. So I don't have to stay over, because it gets very expensive. Especially the parking, you know.
Oh, parking at the hotel?
Parking at the hotel is $50 a day.
Oh,
at the Homewood Suites. Yeah.
Can't leave your car overnight at Dana-Farber then for free?
We've done that, but then if my husband had to go out to get something, he didn't have the car, so he said it's just easier just to keep the car there. You know. When I was there for a month, we did that a few days, left the car at Dana-Farber.
I'm so glad that you're feeling better.
Yes, I am. I'm feeling like myself. You know, I'm feeling like myself. So I have energy. I have no fatigue. So
that's
and terrific. Yesterday I got a letter from Dana-Farber that I could not reach out to my donor per se, but to send her a letter. So I did that today. Sent her a nice thank you letter. So we'll see if she answers back.
Do you know where she lives?
She's in Europe. I have a feeling she's in Germany, but I don't really know. I just know she's female. She was 37 and she lives in Europe. That's all they told me.
Oh, so you don't have the address or yourself?
No, you can't write to them. You can't write to them. You have to write to the donor center. So the person I send it to in Dana-Farber will forward that to the donor center. Oh. You can't put anything personal in it. You can't tell them if you have children. You can't tell them their names. Everything has to be generic.
Oh. About yourself, you mean, as well? So
yeah. Yeah.
So that means you're 37 now.
That's right. I'm 100% her bone marrow and blood. So
I would love to find out if there have been any studies to show if aging, progression and aging is turned around a bit by all that.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Sure would, huh?
Yeah.
At least something, another bonus, right, for going
Yes.
through what you went through.
Yeah, I need to ask them, and I don't know why I haven't asked them yet, if my DNA is changed, because it can be her DNA, my DNA, or both of our DNA. So I got to ask them when I go on Tuesday, that question, because I'm sure they test for it.
You would really mess up 23andMe, huh?
Yeah, yes, exactly. I said to my husband, if I was going to murder somebody, I should have done it before my stem cell transplant, because they would never find me.
CSI, there's a new twist for someone's plot, you know?
Yes.
Mary Lou, I probably asked you this before, but does your blood type stay the same, or
Ours were the same. Ours were the same. So my blood type is O positive. Hers was O positive.
That's what I had remembered. Yeah.
Yeah, but it does change if there's like A or B or whatever, it would be that. So mine didn't have to change. So yeah. So all is good.
That I'm just amazed. Again, at like 1 month's time, this difference. I'm going to remember that.
Yes.
Remind people you can be the example of how things are. And I've seen it actually with with Leslie, I've seen it as well. And Nancy, I met you late in the game of your treatment. So I can't say that I've actually witnessed this transformation. So, but some of you have probably seen it in me, but I'm trying to, people who are here that have been here when I've gone through my various whatevers. So it's just, it really is amazing. So so on this trial you're on now, it's a year, and a whole year you have to go in 5 days a week, except
but it's every 6 weeks. So I get 6 weeks off. So it's 5 days, and then you get 6 weeks off.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, I take the pills for 14 days and the IV chemo for 5. So
that's right. Your venetoclax for the 14.
Yes, for 14 days. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you can plan other things in life then. It doesn't
Exactly. And it was so nice to have this break. I don't go back to the 14th. I finished on December 6th. It was nice to have that break. I mean, I still go into Dana-Farber every week. Every week. But they said that they're going to cut back on my visits. They were going to cut back on my visit for next week, but I'm having a bone marrow biopsy, and they said, "Oops, that's right. We can't cut back on that one." So this will be my 5th bone marrow biopsy. And some of that is because I'm on the trial. They have to do it more often.
So fun. Do they knock you out for that?
Yes, they do. Well, I'm not knocked out. I can hear them talking. I can answer them, but I don't, feel anything. They do Versed and fentanyl. So, yeah. Yes, I'm going through enough. I don't need to go through that pain.
Well, I'm glad
I would prefer to be done that way.
Yeah.
But MD Anderson puts me completely out.
Oh, they do?
I don't want to be awake, because the first one, they hurt me really bad, and I still have residual from it. The second one they did in the hospital at UT Southwestern, that one they did Versed and
fentanyl.
Fentanyl. And as a matter of fact, when they told me they were going to give me fentanyl, I freaked out. I said, "No, you're not giving me that stuff. That's that stuff from the streets. I don't want to die." And the guy laughed at me and he goes, "Well, we don't go outside and get it off the corner."
Yeah.
But yeah, and then now MD Anderson, they put me completely out. They give you a choice of being awake or being out. So I don't like being put out any more than I have to be, but that's how they do it there.
But you can always just, bite on a piece of leather and have them do it. That's basically what they did to me. They didn't give me the leather to bite on, but offered nothing.
Yeah, no, they did, and I'm the one that asked. I said I'll only do it with light sedation. Yeah,
you have to at Dana-Farber. They won't give you a thing, which is odd, considering MD Anderson gives something and UT gives something. Well, Lynn, I remember I don't know if these ladies have heard your story about what happened to you. your first time for a bone marrow biopsy, but it did not sound like a walk in the park.
I'm reminded of back in 1970, our son Tim. We went to MD Anderson with him in 1977, and he had bone marrow biopsies, spinal taps. No. Back in those days, they didn't give them anything, not even local anesthesia for that. Those kids were tough and precious too. But yeah, my first bone marrow biopsy was done locally, and was quite an experience. And when we went to MD Anderson, 10 days later, my wife told them that if I had to have a bone marrow biopsy, I had to be put to sleep, and they did, and that was the best sleep I ever had. And it was only 20 minutes long, but and they did a bilateral biopsy. They did one on each side of the hip. And I went through that about 3 times at MD Anderson, and of course, UT Southwest. Now that I'm going to the closer facility, when they want a bone marrow biopsy, they don't put me out. They do some other stuff, but I just bite on the bullet. You take a bite of the bullet, or bite the leather, or whatever you want to call it, whatever John Wayne would do.
Well, yeah, someday. Well, hopefully I will never have to have one again, or hopefully I will, if it means I'm close to. I haven't gotten to. Well, anyway, I'm not on a trial, so there's no need to get one. I've been trying to figure out what would be the other reason to get one. I don't know if there would be, because now there's clonoSEQ tests, and I guess if they ever wanted to test, but I've never gotten down that low, MRD wise, if they would have to take it for any reason. So I guess in a way it's good I won't need one, but if I ever do, I know now to ask.
Yeah, propofol is the magic drug. PROPOFOL. Just say, I want the Michael Jackson drug.
Oh no.
They don't use that. They don't use that at Dana-Farber, Michelle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So no danger.
Yeah, because I asked. Because that stuff, I wake up after colonoscopy, I'm ready to go to breakfast. With the Versed and the fentanyl, I'm so groggy after, it's ridiculous.
I'm just putting in notes for people like to ask for sedation. But you want to go to breakfast, huh? I don't know what I might just want to go home and nap.
Alexa wants to know if I can dance like Michael Jackson, walk like Michael Jackson.
Important question.
Yeah, well, not yet. Maybe next time.
Well, maybe it's right when it's happening, and you would think you could.
I thought I was in orbit, you know.
But then you could moonwalk very easily. That would be pretty good. Well, Nancy, Lynn, we'll come back to you to see if you have anything to share. But Nancy, you said that you had something that
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. I mean, a lot of the comments about care and just I think it was on this group last month that Lou and I were kind of texting back and forth about my daughter's father-in-law has multiple myeloma. And anyway, he passed away Monday. And so it's kind of, it's brought a lot of, well, just all kinds of emotions, because it's my son's wife's dad, and it's, you know, it's kind of like our counterparts. So my grandchildren have lost a grandfather, and it was not expected. Like if it was, here's the thing, I guess. I'm so grateful for all of you and for this call, because it helps me think more about all cancers, but also how to get support for mine, and how to be supportive to other people. My daughter-in-law's parents didn't communicate much, and like we didn't even understand that he had been being watched for this for like 20 years, and then he went to his oncologist, and the guy was like, well, this is more active now, so we're going to, and that day they started treatment, and they didn't know to ask about the treatment, and he had all kinds of cardiological issues as well. And, there were so many things that it just, I looked at, or I kind of watched from the sidelines, along with trying to, give them, like Lou had offered her phone number, and so, it was, I felt like they had some opportunities. But the thing that I noticed, and this was the part that I guess I'm really trying to process, and one note on this is I turned 65 this year. My daughter-in-law Sally's father was 82, so they didn't have her until they were in their 40s, and so he was a much older person. But here's what I noticed. The biggest thing was he'd been hospitalized. He'd been in treatment for the cancer. He'd gotten sicker and a lot of kidney issues, been hospitalized, and then been moved to a rehab hospital. And, Christmas Day, he came, his wife and my Sally's mom picked him up, brought him over. We all had Christmas dinner together, and he was fairly frail looking and that sort of thing. And, but went back to the rehab hospital. And here's the thing. At this rehab hospital, there is one physician, and all the other physicians have to go through that one physician. So all of a sudden, I just felt like his care was so strangely disconnected, unless his other, like his PCP, I don't even know if his PCP even knows that he's passed away. It's just so strange the way that the dynamics, and I think that the main thing I'm trying to, I guess, communicate is I just saw that as a big problem, that he was being cared for and he had multiple things going on, but nobody, like there wasn't a connection. And so anyway, we're not even sure what he died of. It'll probably be written as a cardiac arrest, since he was not able to be revived. That's basically what they told his wife when they called her the next morning. And so anyway, it's kind of I'm more aware of a lot of different things right now than I would be, say a year or two ago, and just trying to figure out, what do you put in place, or how do you make sure, if you can, that you have more control. That's the one thing I was noticing in what Leslie was sharing. It's like it doesn't feel like she gets to control her care, because she's requested a transfer, but they've denied it. Well, to me, that makes no sense at all. And so it just kind of, I'm seeing more and more how important it is, and we're blessed because we have each other to encourage each other and to help work things out. But so many people just kind of go to their doctor, they get a diagnosis, they just do it. And I'm realizing more and more how I do have to advocate more for my own health, and I have to be more responsible for it too. And I did the obinutuzumab venetoclax treatment for CLL, And in that year on venetoclax, I gained 20 pounds. So I don't want a medical intervention to lose that, but I want to be responsible for, trying to change some things in my lifestyle, get more active. That's the one thing for me that the venetoclax really knocked down, was just my ability to have any energy. So I'm really moving and doing more, and I'm wearing my watch so I'll know my steps every day, which I never did that before. I was like, I didn't really care, but now I do. And anyway, I think I'm kind of like a ping pong ball. The last thing I guess I want to share is that every year I try and have a word for the year, and I start praying into that in the end of November and December, and I just keep trying to see, if something gets highlighted. And so my word for 2025 is balance. So I feel like I've been challenged with the beginning of the way this year is going, but I'm going to hold to that word, and I'm going to believe that next week is going to be a little more balanced. And the other, I guess, just keep us in your prayers, because, like I said, this wasn't expected as far as we knew.
I'm sorry to hear about this, and also it does affect you, like you said, and your husband, because it is family, whether your blood relations or not, and affects your son and daughter-in-law. It is very tough to watch when we all understand about self-advocating and about how important it is, not only in our own diseases, but in everyone's here. And it is so hard when we hear that. I have had two personally, just because this goes a bit public, it is very, let's just say I have a relative with CLL who will do nothing about it. And that relative happens to have someone in the medical profession that could help in their family. And also my daughter's grandmother-in-law was diagnosed with a blood cancer, and no one could tell me what it was. And I asked all sorts of questions because I felt very guilty that I could help. And yet no one could tell me what it was. No one would ask questions, and that person passed. And then there's yet another situation. So it's very hard when people, I have keep trying to tell myself that, what is that saying? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't, is that, I always say these things
Make
wrong.
them drink.
Make them
Nope,
drink.
you got it. You can't make them drink. It's a good Texas saying.
I was going to say, all of you in Texas should be able to know that one. But but it's hard because you know that you want to help. You probably, and plus your husband's a physician. That must have, do they live near you?
It's very, it's awkward because my husband is a physician, but he's also a scientist. Like his dad was a scientist at UT Southwestern, and he was raised with a very scientific mind, and so he's got such a fund of knowledge that it's just beautiful. And you would think, and a lot of people do take advantage of that, which is great. It's his gift. But so we're in Amarillo, which is where my son and his wife and Sally's parents, they're longtime Amarillo people, and so we're here with them, and it's been sweet to get to walk with my two grandsons that are, I have three grandchildren here, and one is only 18 months, so she's not really gonna.
Aww.
But the two grandsons are 4 and 6, and so to get to open a lot of that information to them. It's been a sweet time. They painted rocks today, and they'll leave a rock at the gravesite on Monday, and you know, it's just it's something you just walk through moment by moment, but it's not. It definitely wasn't on the plan. And Michelle, thank you for sharing about your relative. It's nice to know that other people have had situations where they felt like they could be helpful, and we didn't do as much as I think we could have done.
And you try, but it's hard.
Yeah.
And I continue, and in these situations, could I do something differently, right? I don't know if you're feeling that, but then on the other hand, I don't know, has anyone else had situations and suggestions on what could be done if anyone comes upon this sort of thing in the future? Nancy, you also didn't know for a long time about what he had, or perhaps you could have suggested, or MD Anderson or something, or UT Southwestern.
Yeah, I had a friend that reached out to me back in June, May or June, and he had follicular lymphoma, and so I immediately began to research and find out what I could about it. And as he told me what he was going to be treated with, and I could see that was pretty much what was the norm. So I wasn't alarmed. And as a layperson, you feel like you certainly, we don't know as much as the doctors do, and hopefully he has very competent doctors. But he had his first treatment, and then he just began to have these reactions. My doctor at UT Southwest said apparently he was allergic to the bendamustine. He was treated with bendamustine and rituximab, and he began having problems with being anemic. And then he began to have burning of the skin and peeling of the skin and ulcers in the eyes. And these are, from my research, this is what's called a Stevens-Johnson syndrome. And it can be a reaction to anything from chemotherapy to other types of drugs. It's just, it's a strange thing, and is often fatal. And unfortunately, he passed away in September, I believe it was. And I was rocked, kind of like, and I can empathize, Nancy, with the pain, because by comparison, I was diagnosed 11 years ago, and I have yet to spend the night in the hospital. And I've been treated. It's been a steady. There's been no bizarre reactions. I haven't had pneumonia. I had COVID, but it wasn't bad. So it kind of rocks our boat when we see somebody else go through a hard time with blood cancer, and especially if it's, I would think, especially if it's somebody that has the same type of blood cancer as we do. But I thought, I thought everything was looking up and up for my friend Billy, and goodness, his family. I know they've gone through a hard time this Christmas. The vacancy is there every day for the rest of your life. So
Right.
all I know is that we just love them the best we can, and so I had that guilt. Was there something more that I could have shared? I mean, I was probably overloading them with information coming in emails and stuff about what I was reading, and I even had another person with CLL that I copied on some of this stuff, and she finally stepped up and said, "Please stop sending me this stuff. I'm overloaded with emails, but enough as it is." So I kind of got kicked back into my place after that happened.
Well, I appreciate everything you've ever sent me, Lynn. Thank you for the things you do. I think for me, one of the things is just sort of, I think it's called foreshadowing or something, when you kind of see where things are lightheaded or something. And I feel like I'm in my best health that I've been in years and years and years. But I think that from this, I sort of saw some things that I want to make sure that I don't fall, I don't, I don't, I don't just go the way someone pushes me without some questions or with some thoughtful. Like my doctor at UT Southwestern, she's always like team player. What do you think? And I'm blessed because Jay is with me. He goes to every appointment and he has all. So there's that. But I just saw what happens when you don't have that. And I think that's maybe an area that I just people who actually go through cancer diagnosis and or by themselves. I can't imagine, because this was one of those things where I just felt like they're not asking the right questions, they're not pushing for the right care, they're not making their oncologist talk to their cardiologist, talk to their PCP. You know, that's what really bothers me. It's like there has to be some way for there to be sort of this respectful. And as Jay has said to me, Nancy, we don't know everything. They might have known a whole lot more and they just weren't saying. So, but I guarantee you, my son will know everything. And of course, my husband knows everything. And I won't put it on Facebook, but I might overshare in our support meetings. And I do appreciate that we do have each other to bounce these things off of and get advice and encouragement, just suggestions really on, what have you tried this?
And that is one of the values of this, is we all may not think of something in a certain light or a different way of thinking about it, or have someone like Lynn who will keep sending us things which many of us do appreciate, especially those of us who feel the more information the better. But yeah, I guess not everyone is there. Or maybe if it's, I don't know. Obviously we're all here because we all want to learn and help each other. So.
Well, Nancy, I think your word balance, can I borrow that word too?
That's a great word. I think I'm going.
Yes. Jay's word is renewal. So he's taking balance and renewal.
I like the idea of a word. I was just trying to figure out, has anyone thought of a word for their word? Jim, Alexa, what's your word?
Yeah, so my word is intentional. Me and Nancy were on the same wavelength about that. I've been really reflecting and in prayer and stuff. And so when Nancy was talking, I'm like, yeah, I found the same wavelength too. And intentional came to me. So everything I've been thinking about for the next year has been I really, really want to be intentional.
My word last year was cheerfulness. I think I'm probably going to have that one come back around, because I really don't think I succeeded at, that one's not going into the inventory. It's coming. I'm pretty sure it's coming back out. It might be a lifelong word.
Well, Nancy, I think that's one of your gifts, is cheerfulness, and we appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, Mary, do you have a word?
No, I don't. I'll have to come up with one. It's a good idea.
I know next month we'll have to be asking. Jim, what about you?
I don't know. I got a lot of words. I sort of say inspiring.
That's always a wonderful gift. Mary Lou, what about you? Oh, you're muted. Sorry.
I guess I would say patience. I need to have more patience. I want it now. So being home, stuck in the house for 3.5 months has taught me some patience. It's old.
I've been trying to figure out what mine would be because I've realized that kind of my theme has been and I don't know the word. I have to figure it out. Is I used to always kind of set the world on fire and be extremely. I guess I'm still ambitious to a point, but to kind of create new things and get everyone going and excited and but to build things. So I don't know what that word would be, but it seems everything I've been thinking and talking about is around that. It's not going to be balanced at all, though. It'll be just the opposite.
It's like it's feisty.
Spicy. That's a
No,
very.
but spicey's good too. No, feisty with an F, Fiesty, feisty.
Feisty.
You seem feisty to me, Michelle.
Oh, thank you. It would be more than feisty though, because it'd be building things, right? Building things or but gathering others to build it with. So I don't know. Feisty? But I would have to have other feisties with me. I'll name it the feisties. But yes, it's time to take my gifts and do more with them. So I'm trying to determine how to do that. Put things into action. So if anyone thinks of a word, let me know. I do want to announce we're expecting a puppy. Of course, we'll never forget our love, Gabby, but I've been looking all over the place at rescues. Oh my God, finally took some cute ones that are available. Over Christmas, none were available. It was Christmas Eve and we were alone because we're empty nesters. No one's in the house with us. We're like, oh, we need a puppy. Where can we get a puppy tonight? But there are no puppies at the pounds because everyone, they're gone. Thankfully, people are getting them. That's the good news. But of course, now that I've placed a deposit on a puppy, now there are so many of them. I guess I should have patience like Mary Lou. But I will surprise you in our next meeting and have a new puppy with me to join our meetings. So that'll be a surprise for everyone. But we've been lonely. I don't know if anyone else can relate with that being empty nesters. So I can't hear anyone.
Woof, woof.
There's one. There's the puppy. Jim, did you have anything you would like to share with us?
Well, I don't want to depress everybody, but my sister, she had, well, I think she still has essentially a brain tumor. And they have, at the time she did the surgery in the first place, they actually removed the tumor out of the brain, turned out to be melanoma. And they also removed 3 small patches on her back and 1 on her breast. And we thought it was good, but I think it is back again. So I don't know how she's doing now, but it doesn't look good, unfortunately.
Oh, Jim, I'm so sorry. So she had a brain tumor and now these different myelomas and the brain tumors.
Well, and the myeloma's doing great. I mean, she's been great for a year. And so that was good, but all of a sudden she started to be extremely incoherent and she couldn't speak and everything else. And my sister was stubborn and she wouldn't go to the hospital and etc. And so eventually she did, and they did the scan on her, and there was quite a big tumor within the frontal lobe. And so they surgically removed that along with 3 small ones on her back and 1 on her breast. at the same time, and she was okay for about a week. And last time I talked to her, she was absolutely incoherent again.
Oh.
So
I think melanoma is known for going to the brain. That's one of the places
yes,
it
it
can spread
is.
to.
And I don't think they can get it all.
Oh.
Yeah, unless
I
there's some
sort of
type of
doubt that.
clinical trial. Yeah.
Actually, great news. There is CAR T cell therapy is very effective in melanoma when it has metastasized. I don't know if that is a potential option for your sister.
Right. Okay.
CAR T was actually one of the first things that they tried it on and found that it worked. And that's why we have several melanoma survivors to this day.
Oh,
But
okay.
yes, so I would
Yeah,
talk to your sister and immediately anywhere that has a CAR T center, see if they can get her in for a
okay.
consultation.
I will pass that along to her son.
Yeah.
Does she live close by, Jim, to where you
No,
are?
she is in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Well,
I
she
think
may
they
need
have.
MD Anderson. Maybe the
Not like she
closest.
can be. Are
Oh,
they?
Or to UT.
That would be a
UT.
long distance for her, though. Or would it?
Well, Tulsa to Dallas is not nearly as far as.
No.
So, I know I said that like a true northerner, huh? I don't really know how close or far.
OU Health does have CAR T, which is good. So that's right near there. So they should be able to get her consultation. But as far as we know, with most of the studies and everything that has come out,
Uh-huh.
and we have looked into this for other people, I have in the past. With melanoma, we know that CAR T works exceptionally well.
Okay.
If I were personally navigating you in this situation, I would tell you that is the first option I would go to.
Okay. Okay. I will call her son
Perfect.
after this.
Thank you so much for that information, Alexa.
Oh,
Judy,
yeah.
Hi.
welcome. We were just wrapping up. What is happening with you?
Well, I had really good blood the last time in December. I don't go again until like the 23rd or something of January. I will say, and I don't know, how much y'all know or whatever, but when I had diffuse B-cell lymphoma, one of the things Dr. Awan did for me to keep it from going to my brain was I had 2 methotrexate treatments where I had to be in the hospital. The treatment only takes like 1 day or 3 or 4 hours, but the thing is you have to drink enough water and get that out of your system until the pH is down before they release you to go home. But that is to protect it goes to protect the blood barrier from it spreading to your brain. So just to FYI, if you ever have, development of that, whatever.
Is that a standard practice, Judy, or one that was a
I
trial?
think so, because I've talked to some other people. I think Dr. Wan was doing it just as a matter of caution because my neutrophils were so low, and when it was detected, it was like a 30 on the on the glow scale and on the SUV, and I also had a few. It showed up in my lymph nodes a little bit, not all over. So, but I was anything to keep it from going to my brain. I was glad to do.
yeah. Back in the 70s, when our son was at MD Anderson with lymphoma, they gave him methotrexate, which was a brand new drug back then. They gave him the spinal infusion of methotrexate.
Actually, they gave me two of those in the hospital while I was being treated. But then this was I finished treatment with the
the chemo the first part of January, and I had this done in February, and a week apart or 2 weeks apart.
Judy, was that a year ago?
No, this was 2020. No, a year ago I started my pirtobrutinib. In 11 months so far, it's doing really well.
How long will you be on that?
Stopped working.
So indefinitely.
Yeah. It's kind of like the calibrutinibs and all of that is, the others is you stay on it until you.
I
My last flow test showed I had like 13% CLL cells in my blood.
At ASH, though, they were talking, and it was all different trials, but they were talking about defined duration with pirtobrutinib. But
Well,
I know
they're also trying to put that with pairing.
I was just going to say that, yes, but with something.
Yeah.
And also, I think it depends on the patient.
Right. And I think that was for first line treatment too, instead of like the ones we're getting it as a third or fourth line.
Many of them were for frontline treatment, but I do know, like for myself, and I believe you're in this category too, those of us who are a little more high risk, they say, well, not all doctors, but certain doctors will say, you just have to stay on it, like you said, until it stops working. Yeah. So you're doing well then. It's down to 13%?
Yeah.
And you're feeling well?
I'm feeling good. I have my 2 grandkids who are, that's why I was like coming on, because they're now watching their last 20 minutes of TV for the day to then go to bed. So
you're babysitting?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, how old are they?
10 and 7.
That's so nice.
Tomorrow we're going swimming for 3 hours. So.
Hey, Judy, how's your friend doing?
She's still pretty coherent. I haven't heard from the last MRI. They were supposed to have gone today to the doctor, and I haven't had the result heard from them since they went to the doctor. Depending on what that last MRI said, whether they continue any treatment or not. She is had to stop the pills that she was taking because her liver enzymes were way sky high and out of range. And she has terrible, terrible mouth sores. I mean, I looked at one of the places on her gum and it just made me cringe. Even though she's getting the Miracle mouthwash and the one that they're giving that's kind of an antibiotic that she swishes and swallows. And then she also, I've been trying to get her to do it, and I think she's only done it once, the salt and baking soda, mixture, which you can do that as many times as you want to. And I think it's healing, but I have a hard time coaxing her to do some things. She has gotten strong enough with her therapy that she can now at least stand up and pivot, to go to the toilet and different things like that. So we're a week from tomorrow or Sunday, we're celebrating her 87th birthday. So anyway.
Wow. What does your friend have?
She has glioblastoma.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Remember you saying that.
In 2020, she had an enlarged spleen, but Dr. One said it was not CLL, but whatever it was, I mean, it was in that same deal. And she took 4 bendamustine rituximab treatments for that, and it, went down. But Dr. One said then her spleen was like a 7-month-old. pregnancy. So it was pretty entailed. But anyway, it's not been easy. We've done a lot of fun things with her. We've gone to the Arboretum and to out to eat and different things. And everything is picture, of she has a diary of it. So we're trying to make things as fun as we can. So, because we
God
know,
bless you.
huh?
God bless you. That's so nice you're doing that.
So, and actually, her daughter and son-in-law are supposed to go to Argentina and Chile the last part of January, and their house is close to where Joyce is now, so I'm going to go down and stay in their house, so I'll be close to go if she needs me and to go visit her. So, but anyway, a friendship that's over 50 years is really hard.
That's family.
It is. It's definitely family. Well, I lived with them my last semester of college. So,
Aw.
yeah.
Well,
Really
I'm very happy you're feeling well and you have your grandchildren.
Yes. So, and did you find out anything really at ASH that was just astounding or anything?
Oh, so much. I guess I should tell you to go see my reports, but in a nutshell,
I think I saw one of them.
there are a lot of, so of course there are all these different trials happening, and one of the hottest ones that made it to like one of the top 20, that's named to the best of ASH, is the combination. I'm trying to remember the combination it is. It is basically, it's my doctor's, I should remember it. It's what we already know, except it's showing that it really does work, and they're hoping it will get approval. And I should go back to my notes. I feel like that was a year ago now. I feel like with the holidays that happened after, even though it was less than a month ago. And it is the combination of, I have to think this through. Let me think. This is horrible. I'm having like a brain freeze here. It's I believe it's the combination of it's horrible. I can't remember. I have to look it up. But another hot thing that they're talking about is what Brian Kaufman is on, the trial he's been on. But that's very much in its infancy stages.
Yeah. What about degraders?
Yes. There are a lot of degraders they spoke about, but it would only be for those who have been through many treatments before, including they've exhausted BTK inhibitors, they've exhausted venetoclax. By the way, there is a new BCL2 that's
yeah, I knew that was coming.
Better and more effective than venetoclax, but that is not yet to. They're not saying like that'll get approved immediately, and I can't believe I'm not remembering this other one that is. Oh, I've lost everyone here for a moment. Oh my gosh, it must be what I said. Or they're calling Jim to go to the funeral. That's what it is. They're trying to get through to him to go to Jimmy Carter's funeral. The other is they were, CAR T and what to use to help CAR T work more effectively, because in CLL, for those of you who don't have it, in CLL, CAR T is not as effective nor as successful with CLL and SLL patients. Yeah. And they keep trying to figure out why and what it is they need to do. And basically it's with CLL patients, they're trying to figure out, so what is it they need to do? And it's what to add in to debulk first and the different steps. Yeah. Even if someone's already exhausted, let's say they've used Calquence or they've already used something else like Brukenza or Brutinib, but to still use that in the beginning and it helping, or finding new genes. There's also those who presented that are finding new genes, digging deeper and see what it is that makes, let's say, Nancy different from me and different from Judy. Let's say if we all had the exact same deletions or mutations, if we all had that, there must be one other thing that makes Nancy respond better to one thing or Judy respond better to something else or not. So I found that pretty fascinating.
That's so because there's so many different flavors of CLL. I think that's the
There are, and that, but it's like, but we don't know, and our doctors only know the tests that exist today.
Yeah.
So they're digging deeper. The other thing is what's been approved in other countries, and it's what Nancy has been used, and that's venetoclax and obinutuzumab being approved here officially versus how it is. There were just so many trials with all different results, but there were quite a few that seemed to prove out more than they had in the past.
My son just sent me an article just last week that sounded really fascinating, that they are taking, and it sounded like in the body, not taking it out and reprogram it. It sounds like they're reprogramming cells of cancer cells with the protein and things to change back to normal cells, which sounded really fascinating. He sent me that. I don't know if I can find it or not.
Is that what's being called more personalized approaches? And that they fix you specifically for you? Because that was something that it wasn't totally theoretical or philosophical, but that was something that is being tested, and also CAR T, they're testing for that too, or it's not off the shelf.
Yeah, this sounded like the article is researchers develop groundbreaking technology to revert cancer cells into normal cells. And this was from the iflscience.com.
What's that stand for? Does it say? IFL?
No,
international.
iflscience.com, and this is what he just sent me on a.
I've seen that, and I'm trying to remember. Does it say?
It was fascinating though to read. I mean, if they can get that, I mean, all kinds of cancers can be cured.
Does it talk about if they've tested it on? Is it being tested yet on even mice?
This approach not only represents a new way to potentially treat cancer, but also one to avoid the side effects.
That would be wonderful, because that would be the way it cures everyone versus.
Yeah. It's a differentiation. It says previous research has demonstrated the reversion of cancer cells associated with myeloid leukemia, breast cancer, and hepatocellular carcinoma, a kind of liver cancer. However, there hasn't been a systematic identification of what is called master regulators or specific genes or proteins that control the differentiation, because we know that the cells transform. It says scientists may be able to manipulate cancer cells and reprogram them to become non-cancerous cells, therefore offering an alternative or complementary treatments. This is from a Professor Kwon Hung Cho from the Department of Bio and Brain Engineering at the Korean Advanced Institute of Science and Technology.
So
And then it goes, and talks
I,
about,
what was it in again? I'm looking it up now. IFL,
uh-huh,
IFL.com.
uh-huh.
Okay. Hold on. Oh, it doesn't find it. IFL, no, I must be missing a letter. Well,
Okay. Let me go back to
so I do know I have a friend with ovarian cancer who is progressed quite a bit, and they are giving her a vaccine
yeah,
that is on trial. That's another thing they're doing, at least for solid tumor.
yeah,
And it's using mRNA technology like they used for the COVID vaccines.
Yeah.
So that's already being tested. One other thing at ASH, you're asking about ASH. I've seen there were present last year, they talked about AI. This year, they had presentations of information with using AI for blood cancers, which was fascinating. And of course, it hasn't been truly trialed except through that, through using different, I guess you would call it AI applications and running numbers and data that already exists. So that should also be helping.
But that was also what HealthTree is trying to get everybody to put their data on it, not their name or anything, but just their data.
Well, that would be good for if HealthTree can do that. But right now these places are getting data anywhere they can, right?
Well,
and I know that HealthTree is trying, but
yeah.
But there's still people who are so afraid of that.
Oh, I know.
And there's also the Reagan-Udall Foundation for years has been around trying to encourage that and big data for patients. I would think Jenny would know about them and potentially have worked with them. I've done some things with them. But I just thought of that for her, that might be something. Yeah. But anyway.
The concept that they have sounds wonderful because they get everybody's deal, and the researchers can, have access to so much. And with AI, oh my goodness, what they could do with it.
Exactly. And hospitals as well, if they would share.
Yeah.
If they would all share, right, then that would be great. That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
So does anyone else have anything else tonight? Because I see our energy is waning, especially for those of us on the East Coast.
You stayed up late for New Year's Eve.
We're still recuperating.
Yeah.
I thank you all so much for sharing, and we share all sorts of things, and we help each other, and that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
And Alexa, thank you for all this other information that you've shared tonight, especially, the CAR-T.
Of course. And Jim, if you need any other help with that tomorrow, just call me. This is oddly a subject I actually know something about outside of prostate cancer or anything else. So just call me if you need help.
And then I feel like if anyone knows anyone or has any ideas for Leslie and her approach at MD Anderson, let's just each try to reach out. And if you don't know how to reach out to her, reach out to me and I'll ask her if it's okay if I can share her number with you, her email or texting. So anyway, I thank you all. I wish you all a happy new year. I'm so happy that you all joined us this evening. And here's to better health in 2025 for you all.
Amen.
Amen.
Right.
Thank you for being
Good night.
here.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.